I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Who would have thought that a phrase like that, so silly and so goofy, would end up being so iconic and memorable? God damn. You remember that first time when you folks saw The Room? I sure the fuck remember my experience when I first saw The Room. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I didn't understand what I was watching. I didn't know what to believe with what I was watching because this movie was just, what the fuck? It was ridiculous. You mean you got this guy named Johnny who's on this trolley train traveling through San Francisco, comes off, enters a flower shop, talks to this lady, says hello to the little dog that's sitting on the countertop who is obviously the main star of the entire movie. That fucking dog was the main attraction, even though he was there for a good 5-10 seconds. He was the best thing about the entire movie. But anyways, after he left the flower shop, he meets with his buddy Mark, he talks with his super hot, sexy girlfriend Lisa, and a bunch of obscurity nonsense happens throughout the entire film, where a random beat-up scene happens, football playing goes on, because I know that Tommy Wiseau likes playing football. And then you have Greg Sestero, who's playing as the obedient Mark and all that other stuff. I mean, the movie itself was just, nobody knew what the fuck the movie was about. I didn't know what it was about. I didn't even know what I was watching. Especially with the fact that it was overdubbing of the audio instead of hearing them actually talking when making it. They had to overdub. But then again, it's real Hollywood movie. The retarded ass green screen and shit like that with the whole backdrop and. But for those who saw The Room, a lot of people are going to say this movie is a guilty pleasure of theirs. They're going to also say that this movie is a cult classic. Then there's going to be people who's like me who say that the movie just fucking sucked. And I have no shame in admitting it, and I was not entertained. I have no shame at all admitting that whatsoever. However, though, then we get to the Disaster Artist years later. This is an A24 film. I talked about my deep disliking for a good portion of A24's movies, especially in the coming of age and horror realm that I absolutely despise. But when A24 can deliver a movie that I can find personal enjoyment in, this here is one of them, because The Disaster Artist is the real life story about two guys, Greg Sestero and Tommy Wiseau, who get rejected from so many different Hollywood producers or different theatrical theaters. They want to get into the acting world. They get turned down, so they decide, you know what, we're going to come up with it. We're going to follow our dream. We're going to write our own movie, get the cameras, get the set, get the crew, get whomever to try and make our movie come to reality. So after how many months, years, whatever it took to write this script for The Room, they end up getting together and start shooting this movie. Now, this goes behind the scenes of exactly of not only of what happened in the movie. I can't say for sure from beginning to end is what the in-depth true details go on. I know there was a video some time ago that Tommy Wiseau, he ended up doing a whole entire breakdown video, not only going over The Room, but talking about the truths and false statements of what happened in reality and what didn't, which is a very interesting video itself, because everybody knows that Tommy Wiseau is an enigma of a human being. I mean, he claims that he's from New Orleans. Nobody knows how old he is. Some say he's 50, some say he's 60, 70, 80, whatever. Nobody knows how old he is. I sure the fuck don't. But then again, Tommy Wiseau, the man himself, he's probably from somewhere in the United States, probably from another country, or he's probably from a different dimension, from an outer galaxy that we're not even entirely sure that it's been even discovered by NASA yet. Who the fuck knows? Yeah, Tommy Wiseau is an interesting human being. And he likes drinking Red Bull too, is what I came to my understanding. But this movie itself goes in the ins and outs of what happened when making The Room itself, the pros, the cons. And plus the thing is that what I liked about this movie is that this film felt like a proper coming of age story. I mean, it's about two guys who have a dream, get together no matter how bad things turn out to be or no matter how good things end up going in the right direction. They end up going through, making this movie, and end up and turning it into a reality on big screen. But the thing is that what steals the movies, obviously we all know James Franco, the man itself. I can't believe I'm going to fucking say this, but despite my personal feelings for Tommy Wiseau, in my own thought, James Franco, he ends up playing a better Tommy Wiseau than Tommy Wiseau being himself. Mind blown. Now, Greg Sestero, in the real individual himself, I have to give my respects for the guy. I mean, he looks like a stand-up individual that you would go out to the bar and have a couple drinks with and just shoot the shits and talk about a sports game or the casino or, movies in general, just something. Because Greg Sestero just looks like an all-around stand-up guy that I would probably have a nice little time talking with. But James Franco and the guy who played as Greg Sestero, I forgot the name, the cooperation that these two had, you believed it. You actually believe how that these two have a good friendship, despite how Tommy Wiseau can come off, whether he can be the nicest guy ever, or he can be a real total dirtbag. They end up working through it, manage to go through the room, get it all done, and so on and so forth. Despite the trials and tribulations that goes on, especially with hearing bullshit with the crew, the talks with the lady who performed Lisa, the auditions, the controversy between the two with Tommy Wiseau thinking that everyone's betraying him, where in reality they weren't, and taking things out of context. Well, I mean, that's what probably could have happened, even at the premiere scene. Now, when everybody was in the theater watching The Room itself, the actual first showing of the movie, now everybody in the audience was like wondering, what the fuck is this movie? I mean, they were all confused, they were gobsmacked, dumbfounded, they didn't know what the fuck they were watching, but the more they kept watching the movie, they started laughing at it. Now, again, I cannot say that's what really legitimately happened, but I can believe it, because that is obviously for anybody I show the Room to the first time to, that is probably the first natural reaction that a person will probably have when they saw the movies, where they're wondering what the fuck are they watching, but as time progressed, they're laughing at it because of how ridiculous and over the top the movie is. And I can tell you that because that's what happens in the movie. A lot of ridiculousness transpires. But folks, The Disaster Artist, it's a fantastic movie. It feels like a coming of age. You got great cooperation. You got good connection between the two. James Franco plays a better Tommy Wiseau than Tommy Wiseau himself. It's a very nice showcase of the ins and outs of what probably did and what didn't happen. But overall, the believability and that spiritual belief of following your dreams and trying to make it big. And no matter how, no pun intended, disastrous things turn out to be, you are staying true, you are passionate, you are believing into achieving your goal and making it out onto the big screen and letting everybody see your movie. No matter how good or bad it is, you are passionate about it and you are staying true to yourself. So The Disaster Artist is a movie that I gave a 5 out of 5 to when I first saw it. I had a great time with it the first go around. And when I saw this movie again on my second or third watch, I can't remember what number watch this was. But after seeing the movie again, just out of the blue, I wanted to come on and do a little talk about it with you all and just share my enjoyments that I've had with watching The Disaster Artist. And honestly, believe it or not, with me, I ended up appreciating Tommy Wiseau thanks to James Franco. So that is my little talk on this movie. Let me know down below your thoughts when you saw The Disaster Artist, and let me know also your thoughts, your first experience when you saw The Room for the first time. So with that being said, folks, I haven't done this in a little while. Where is it? Here's my remote here. Finally found this son of a bitch. So folks, ciao for now.